Namaste and a very good afternoon to all of you. I welcome you to my channel, The Outlier. My name is Mithun. In today's video, I'll be talking about a very interesting machine learning algorithm, which is called as the Apriori algorithm. Even before I proceed to demonstrate how to work on the Apriori algorithm, may I request you to subscribe to my channel, also like and share my videos. Let me begin by introducing to you the data set that I'll be working on. As you can see here, this dataset is called as the retail dataset. I've kept it very simple. In market basket analysis, we are mostly interested in finding out product affinity or product relationship. That is, which item sells best with which other item. So as you can see here, the first column in this dataset is transaction ID of the customer. Then you have the first product which a customer has purchased, the second product that a customer has purchased, and product number 3 which a person has purchased. If you look at the first transaction involves purchase of bread, butter, and dairy product. In the second transaction, a person has purchased nachos, butter, and dairy. The third transaction involves purchase of juice, jam, and egg. So these are the 3 items that have been purchased by the different customers. Like this, when you look at the last record, you will be able to understand the sample size in this data. So what is the sample size? We have a good sample of 2000 records, and these 2000 records will be used to perform market basket analysis. Now, many of us may be completely new to the idea of market basket analysis. Let me take this opportunity to explain what exactly is market basket analysis. We will also be looking at the implementation of market basket analysis in Python. This is the data set. I'm going to very quickly run a market basket analysis on this data set. Let me now proceed to Jupyter Notebook. As you can see here, this is the Jupyter Notebook, which I'll be using to run a simple a priori algorithm. We'll be looking at the implementation of market basket analysis using the a priori algorithm. Let's ask a very simple question. What exactly is the market basket analysis? Market basket analysis is a data mining technique. I repeat, it is a data mining technique that is used to identify relationships between products that are frequently purchased together by analyzing transaction data from retail stores or e-commerce websites. Market basket analysis can help retailers and marketers better understand customer behavior and preferences. So this is the first point. You can identify relationships between products that are frequently purchased together. Let's now talk about the second point, which is the important metrics that we use when we perform market basket analysis. The primary metric that is used in market basket analysis is what is called as the support metric. What is support? Support is simply the proportion of transactions that contain a particular combination of items. Other important metrics include confidence and lift, which help determine the strength and directionality of relationships between the items. I'll be explaining each of these items in a few moments from now, but please bear in your mind that the 3 important metrics for MBA or market basket analysis would be support, confidence, and lift. The third important point here is market basket analysis can be used to generate product recommendations for customers based on their purchase history. MBA can be used to generate product recommendations for customers based on their purchase history. For example, if a customer frequently purchases, let us say, oil and sugar, a retailer might recommend buying the first product, along with the second product. Let's now move on to the fourth example. Which are the industries wherein market basket analysis can be used? Definitely, you can think of the retail industry, but apart from the retail industry, market basket analysis can also be used in the telecommunication industry as well as the financial sector. Now, let me elaborate on this point. Market basket analysis is widely used in the retail industry. But as I just now mentioned, it can be used in telecom as well as in financial services. One question that you might ask me is, how can market basket analysis be used in the telecommunication sector? In the telecommunication sector, market basket analysis can be used to identify purchase patterns and cross-selling opportunities. In the financial services, it can be used to identify patterns in credit card usage or investment behavior. I'd like to repeat this. In the telecommunication sector, MBA can be used to identify calling patterns. So this is a very important point. You can identify calling patterns as well as cross-selling opportunities. In the financial sector, it can be used to identify patterns in the credit card usage or investment behavior. As with any technique, market basket analysis also has a lot of limitations. MBA is not without its limitations. It can only identify relationships between products that are frequently purchased together. And it cannot identify causality or the reasons behind the relationships. Additionally, market basket analysis may not work well for businesses with a small number of products or transactions. These are some of the important features of market basket analysis. Limitations are very important because this could be a very good interview question. What are the limitations of MBA? It cannot identify causality here. If a business has very few products or transactions, then again, it becomes very difficult to identify patterns and such things. Next important point is that when it comes to limitations, data sparsity is another issue. With this background, what I'm now going to do is show you how we are going to implement building a market basket analysis using Python. As you can see here, in the very first line of code, what am I doing? I'm importing the required libraries. The first library that you'd like to import is the pandas library. The pandas library is very, very useful, especially if you want to do data munging and data wrangling. I'm giving the first statement as import pandas as PD. PD is the alias name for pandas. In the next statement, I have used import mlextend. I repeat, import mlextend. What is this mlextend? It is a Python library of useful tools for the day-to-day data science tasks. In the next command, what I'm doing is I'm importing two important functionalities. The first one being Apriori, the second one being association rules from mlextend.frequent patterns. So this is what I'm doing as far as the first snippet of code is concerned. Let me quickly go ahead and execute this. Once you have imported the required libraries, the next task is to import the data. I was just now showing you the Excel data. Let me just go back to the Excel data. You can see here, this is the Excel data which I was showing you. There are 4 variables. I like to import this in Python. How do I do this? There's a simple command which is called as read_CSV. I repeat, read_CSV. Once you specify read underscore CSV, within parentheses, you can include the double quotes and specify the name of the source file. The name of the source file is retail underscore data.csv. Therefore, you can specify the name of the file. Please bear in your mind that you have to specify the extension of the file as well. CSV is the extension of the file. CSV stands for comma separated values. I've already imported this particular file here in the second line of code. Now, the very useful command, which is called as df.head. df is nothing but the data frame which we have saved in the earlier snippet of code. We have imported the file retail underscore data, and we have created a data frame. What is a data frame? A data frame is a type of view. It just is useful because it gives a spreadsheet-like view. It gives a Excel spreadsheet-like view. Now, we can go ahead and display the data. As you can see here, once you import the data and display the first 5 records, these are the column names: transaction ID, product 1, product 2, and product 3. The first variable is not very useful when you're running a priori algorithm. To identify product associations, we will be using the second, third, and the fourth variables only. So what I'm going to do in the next stage is to remove or drop the variable transaction ID. Okay, you can see here what we are going to do as a next step is to create dummy variables. You can see here pd.get underscore dummies. Now, what does this do? The moment you run dummies, it creates many dummy variables. Let me show you the output of creating the dummy variables. Here, in the first statement, I'm using get underscore dummies function on the data frame. I'm also dropping the first variable and selecting the variables second, third, and fourth. And therefore, I'll be using the iloc function present in pandas to drop the first variable and select the variable 2, 3, and 4. When you execute this particular command, what you're seeing here would be the first variable, namely, is bread. It acts like an indicator variable. You can see if the first customer has purchased bread, it will mark as 1. If he has not purchased bread, it will mark as 0. So this is mostly a dichotomous variable which acts like an indicator of whether a person has purchased bread or not. Wherever there is 1, it means that that person has purchased bread, and wherever there is 0, we can safely assume that the person has not purchased bread. So this is the output of get underscore dummies. It can be used to transform a string variable to a numeric variable, and this numeric variable can be further used. It can be further fed into the association rule mining algorithm to obtain important associations. Let's investigate this. The first column name is bread, and against the first customer, it's marked as 1. The rest of the cases are 0. Let me go up. You can see here, how was the data? The first customer has purchased bread, and therefore against this first person, when you create get underscore dummies function, when you use get underscore dummies function, it is marking as 1. You can see here the second person has not purchased bread. The third person, he has purchased juice but not bread. The same trend continues. And therefore, against the second, third, fourth, so on and so forth, Python is marking as 0. Let me scroll down. Now that we have understood how get underscore dummies work, it is used to create dummy variables, which can be also called as indicator variables of indicator variables which take a value of either 1 or 0. 1 means the person has purchased that particular product. 0 means the person has not purchased that particular product. Let's now focus on fruits. You can see here, against the first person it is 0, which means that the first person has not purchased fruits. The same trend continues for the rest of the cases as well. Like this, what we have done here is that we have created a lot of variables. You can see here, there are quite a few variables here. We have created one variable for each product. So there's a variable for bread, another variable for fruits, another variable for juice, so on and so forth. Like this, for each and every product, we have been able to create a dummy variable. Now, why is this important? This is very, very important because this data now represents what is called as a truth table. The data should first be created or converted as a truth table before you feed this into the a priori algorithm. If you take the raw data and then feed it into the a priori algorithm, you will get a lot of errors. So the first important point is take the raw data, use the get underscore dummies function and insert dummies. And once you're able to create dummy variables for each and every product, you can go ahead and run the association rule algorithm. Let me now scroll down. At this stage, it becomes very, very important for me to introduce certain terminologies or model performance indicators. In association rule mining, typically you have three important model performance indicators. The first one is support. What exactly do we mean by support? Support is a very key metric which is used in a priori algorithm. I repeat, support is a very key metric that is used in the a priori algorithm, which is a popular method, for finding frequent item sets in the transactional data. So this is one of the important points about support. Let me quickly repeat this point. Support is one of the most important metrics that is used in a priori algorithm, which is a popular method for identifying or for finding out frequent item sets in the transaction data. In simple terms, support measures how frequently an item set appears in a data set of transactions. Now, let's find out the rules which have at least 5% support level. I repeat, we're going to find out rules which have at least 5% support levels. Well, as you can see here, the command here is pretty simple. I'm giving the command a priori. I'm feeding the data frame which is obtained after creating the dummy variables. The minimum support I'm specifying as 5%. Use column names is equal to true. This will run the a priori algorithm and save the result in an object which is called as frequent underscore items. Frequent items will help me find out all those rules which have at least 5% support level. Let's just explore the output of frequent items. You can see here in the right side, in fact, from the top, you have two columns. The first is what is called as support, and the second one is item sets. 35% is the support for bread, which means that this is how popular bread is. Out of 100 customers, 35 of them buy bread. So this is the popularity of bread. When you look at fruits, its popularity is 18%. So out of 100 customers, if 18 customers have purchased fruits, 18 divided by 100 would give you around 18%. Now, when you look at juice, it has a popularity of 24%. In the initial row, you can see only one product, that is either bread alone or fruit or juice alone being displayed. If we scroll down, you can see there are a lot of associations or transactions which involve multiple products. The 11th transaction is a very curious transaction wherein people have purchased bread and butter. How many such people have purchased bread and butter together? 21% of people have purchased bread and butter. So this is a very important finding in our analysis. Let's now look at bread and jam. 12% of the transactions involve the purchase of bread and jam. Now, we can also look at bread and dairy product. 10% of the transactions involve purchase of bread and dairy product. Here you have two products. Let me scroll down to show you if there are people who are purchasing more than two products. I'm not able to see too many. Yes, here you go. Bread, egg, and then you have butter. 19% of the transactions involve this combination of products, that is bread, egg, and butter. Like this, what Python has done is that it has identified 35 combination of products. The 35th combination would be egg, salsa, and nachos. 11% of the people have purchased this. Now, one very easy way of looking at this would be to take this and convert this into an Excel file. In Excel, you can sort this in the descending order of support so that you are able to identify which are the most popular, the top 5 most popular purchases in the organization. So this is how a priori algorithm is very, very useful. Let's now go ahead and build rules with a minimum lift value of 1. Let me repeat. Here, we'll be building rules with a minimum value of lift as 1. One of the important points here is that we'll be running the association underscore rules function on the just now created object of frequent underscore items. The metric that I'm specifying here is lift, and the minimum threshold is 1. You can specify any value as a minimum threshold, but a popular choice for lift is lift greater than 1. We go ahead and execute this particular command. This is just displaying the shape of the object rules that we have created. Let's now look at some of the important metrics that will help us comprehend the quality of the model that we have built. The first most important metric is support, which you have already seen. At the risk of repetition, I'd like to clarify this point once again. Support indicates how popular a product of all the product transactions is. If you want to know the formula for support, support equals number of transactions involving a product divided by the total number of transactions. Let me now proceed to show you the second important metric, confidence. What exactly is confidence? Confidence measures the strength of association between two items A and B in an item set. It is the ratio of the number of transactions that contain both A and B to the number of transactions that contain only A. Let me clarify this point about confidence. What exactly do we mean by confidence? It is the likelihood of purchasing both the products A and B. Confidence equals number of transactions that include both product A as well as product B divided by the number of transactions which include only the purchase of product A. Let's now move on to the third most important metric, which is called as the lift metric. Now, what is lift? Lift is a very, very important metric. Lift is a measure which will help store managers to decide the product placement on the aisle. A lift value less than 1. Let's say you get a lift value of less than 1. It indicates a negative correlation. On the other hand, if the lift value is bigger than 1, it means that the two items are positively correlated. Lift measures the degree of association between the two items A and B in an item set compared to what would be expected if they were independent. A lift value greater than 1 indicates that the two items are positively related, while a lift value less than 1 indicates negative relationship. There are other metrics as well, which you can go ahead and use, but for all practical purposes, support, confidence, and lift are the three important metrics that we need to pay attention to when we are building a association algorithm, association or a rule-based algorithm based on a priori. Let me now proceed to talk about leverage. What exactly do we mean by leverage? Leverage is not popularly used, but however, if you're interested, let me just clarify what exactly is leverage. Leverage measures the difference between the actual frequency of co-occurrence of two items and the frequency that would be expected if they were independent. The range for leverage is between -1 and +1. If you get a leverage value of close to 1, it indicates a strong association. So leverage can be used as a measure for strength of association. In simple terms, leverage measures how much more often two items occur together than you would expect by chance. A high leverage value, which is close to 1, means that the two items are strongly related to each other. On the other hand, if you get a low leverage value, it simply means that these two items are less likely to occur together. So watch out for a leverage value which is very, very high. Next, let's talk about another important metric which is called as conviction metric. Conviction measures the degree of dependence between two items A and B. I repeat, it measures the degree of relationship between two items A and B in an item set. It is a ratio of the expected frequency of A occurring without B to the actual frequency of A occurring without B. With this background, let me now proceed to display the rules. Once you execute the rules object, what Python does is it displays the rules. You can see here antecedents and consequents. When we speak about antecedents and consequent, here the way we have to interpret this would be as a if-then condition. If a person buys bread, how likely is it that he's going to buy butter? So you can look at support. So there's a 35% support, which simply means that out of the total number of transactions, 35% of the transactions involve purchase of bread and butter. Similarly, when you look at butter and bread, given that a person has purchased butter, how likely is it that he's going to buy bread? That involves 24% support. The same way, bread and jam, the support is 35%. Higher the support, it indicates more popular the products, right? Lower support indicates that there is very less or very weak popularity of those two items. So always watch out for high numbers of support. While antecedent support is pointing to the popularity of the antecedent, consequent support here is pointing to the popularity of the consequent. It is better to look at the support, which means that out of the total number of transactions, 21% of the people purchased bread and butter. A better way of interpreting antecedent support is out of the total number of transactions, 35% of them bought bread alone. Earlier I said bread and butter. I stand corrected. My apologies for it. When you look at antecedent support, you have to majorly focus on only the antecedents, implying out of the total number of transactions, how many people bought bread? 35%. Now, out of the total number of transactions, how many people purchased butter? 24%. Out of the total number of transactions, how many people bought both bread and butter? That is 21%. Let's now focus on another useful metric, which is called as confidence. Here you can see confidence column. A high confidence is always very good. If I were to ask a simple question, how likely is it that customer purchase both bread and butter? The answer would be 61%. So when we speak about confidence, confidence indicates the strength of the implication of the rule. So higher confidence of greater than 80% is always preferable. Let's look at lift value. Lift greater than 1 is what we take seriously. If the lift is less than 1, it is an indication that there is negative correlation. Now, as an example, if the lift value is less than 1, it means that having one of the items on the cart does not increase the chances of occurrence of the other item on the cart. But here, the lift value is 2.4. What does this mean? This simply means that when you are comparing two customers, let's say John and Matthew. Let us say John. I'm just interpreting the first row here. Let me scroll down very quickly. The first product here involves bread and butter. The lift value that we have obtained for bread and butter is 2.4. Let us say John as a person has purchased bread. Matthew has not purchased bread. If I have to make a decision as to whom should I sell butter to, should I sell butter to John or to Matthew? I would look at the lift value. Just now you saw that the lift value is 2.4, which indicates that John, who has purchased bread, is 2.4 times more likely to respond to my offer of butter as compared to a person like Matthew, who has not purchased butter. So this is how lift value can be used to identify the relationship between the antecedent and the consequent. Lift greater than 1, take it seriously. Lift less than 1, don't take it seriously. Now, I have introduced you to 3 of the important metrics, namely support, confidence, and lift. Let me now look at the other 2 metrics. You can also look at leverage and conviction. We have already studied what exactly is leverage and conviction. So I'm going to skip the interpretation of leverage and conviction. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to specify a filter condition. We are going to select only those rules which have a lift greater than 2, which means a very high lift, a support which is greater than 0.2, which means 20% support, a lift value which is greater than 2. You can simply specify a filter condition here by saying, give me all those rules wherein the lift is greater than 2, the confidence is greater than 60%, and the support value is greater than 20%. When you go ahead and execute this, out of all the rules that you have created, you will be given very, very strong rules with a lift greater than 2, confidence greater than 60%, and support greater than 20%. Now, some of the products here are bread and butter and bread, juice and jam, salad and vegetable. Similarly, vegetable and salad you have, jam and egg with juice. So these are some of the products which have the criteria that we have specified. of lift greater than 2, confidence greater than 60%, and support greater than 20%. Now, this filter condition is entirely under your control. You can experiment with 3 as the lift value, confidence of 80%, or support of 30%. Now, what would be the right combination? That depends upon the business that you are working on. However, in this video, I have described what is market basket analysis, how do we execute the market basket analysis using the Apriori algorithm, and we've seen some of the important metrics like what is lift, what is confidence, what is support, what is leverage, and what is conviction. With this, I've come to the end of today's video. In today's video, we've seen how to perform market basket analysis. We've also seen how to identify cross-selling opportunities. Just look at the relationship between antecedents and consequents. You can cross-sell consequents to those customers who have purchased the items in the antecedents. I request you to subscribe to my channel, also like and share my videos. Thank you very much for watching this particular video. Have a great day ahead.